We're here at Talladega and we're not seeing any debris, no big wrecks. What's going on? This was supposed to be the most dangerous track of the year and it seems like everyone is driving carefully. So what was the reason behind this clean race and were drivers afraid to pass or overtake? Let's dig deeper into it. This is the story of a caution-filled race where every driver was afraid to make a move and no one got in trouble for driving carefully. So why did it end up being such a clean race? Was it because there were fewer wrecks? No, in fact, there were just as many accidents at Talladega as ever before. The difference this time was that the drivers were willing to let someone else take the risk first, so they could get through a crash without getting into one themselves. Chase Elliott took the high line to get around Blaney on the last lap to win his 5th NASCAR Cup Series race of the season Sunday at Talladega SuperSpeedway. Michael McDowell, Ross Chastain, and Denny Hamlin fanned out behind the duo to round out the top 5 finishers. Elliott is the first driver of the 2022 playoff grid to earn a win during the postseason, now locking himself into the round of 8. How did it happen? Unlike the usual Talladega standards of crazy, this final stage was mostly tame. Blaney found himself fighting near the front of the pack for a majority of the final section of the 500-mile event, and his number 12 appeared to be the car to beat. It was shaping up to be a fun fight to the finish, with Blaney being the heavyweight everyone was to contend with. That was until Daniel Hemrick found himself stalled on pit road with 8 laps to go. The caution halted everyone's momentum and now left the field with less time as there were only 2 laps of racing left rather than 7. Blaney restarted on the inside lane with Eric Jones, who had also shown speed much of the race, 23 laps led, heading up the top lane. Unfortunately for the petty GMS racer, the outside line would not hold up once the green flag waved. It left the bottom lane single file as Blaney and McDowell broke away from the pack. However, once the third inside car of Elliott cleared the number 43, the Georgian opted to brake high and lead the top lane himself. It was a risk that paid off as Elliott's line immediately gained momentum and allowed the number 9 to challenge Blaney out in front. On the last lap, it appeared as though Elliott would lose too much ground, but one last push from Jones in turn 3 would launch the Hendrick Motorsports driver ahead of Blaney's Team Penske Ford into the lead. For the final 100 feet, nobody could challenge the sport's most popular driver and keep Elliott from his 5th win of the year. The race hadn't reached the halfway point of the first stage when a multi-car accident brought out the day's second caution flag. The wreck began on lap 25 when rookie Harrison Burton lost control of his car in 3 wide traffic entering turn 1. Burton, looking for drafting help from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. behind him, was bumped by Stenhouse and slid to the left in the middle of a pack of traffic, causing drivers behind and around him to scramble. Drivers expressed a combination of surprise and amazement. They were able to race hard at one of the most notorious races for crashes, a playoff superspeedway race with crucial points on the line, and yet arrived back on pit road after the race with undamaged cars. That the race ended with a clean 2-lap shootout only added to the shock. My stomach and gut hurt right now from just agonizing in the car every lap about when is the wreck going to happen? Am I going to cause it? Am I going to get spun while getting pushed? Ross Chastain said. I know we didn't crash, but we were trying to. Chastain says that even when the final caution came out, he expected everyone to crash and pile up at the front of the pack, just like they've seen before. But this time, things played out differently. Joey Logano certainly thought so. One of the most aggressive drivers at superspeedways, Logano laid back on the final restart in anticipation of a giant car-shredding crash unfolding in front of him. Then he'd look like the smart one by picking his way through the wreckage and gaining free positions for overtime. But that didn't happen, and Logano ended up finishing 27th, 3 seconds behind the pack for no reason, costing him valuable points in the NASCAR Cup Series standings. The only time I've ever stayed in the back ever was today, and they didn't wreck, Logano said. I hate racing that way. I've gotten beat many times from people who do that. Then I tried it, and it didn't work. It's hard to blame him because the odds of a crash occurring seemed quite high. Not only did a big one not occur at the end of the race, but there was no significant incident aside from a smaller wreck that took out Harrison Burton and Ty Gibbs in the first stage. With all of the controversy and tongue-in-cheek comments about the next-gen car and its safety standards, many held their breath as the Cup field headed to one of the most dangerous races on the calendar. However, instead of a huge attrition-filled race with millions of dollars in wrecked cars and broken feelings, the NASCAR world was instead treated to a rather tame Talladega race that was decided with, well, good racing. In fact, it was pretty refreshing. Better than last time? Competitively, it was the best event we've seen all year. As described before, Talladega has always been a race where close quarters racing makes the competition far more equal than other tracks. On Sunday, that was highlighted far more than it was in April. So what do you think about all this? Do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Well, that is it from this video. We sincerely hope that you liked seeing this video. Please subscribe to our channel if you would like to see more of the stuff that we produce.